Phase 2, Step 2 of the second MRP assignment should be a very brief and simple exercise for you. In fact, since you have gone through the videos that take you through the preliminaries for the assignment, you have all the information that you need to enter onto this form, so this is merely an exercise in data entry, nothing more. The first thing that you need to do is to adjust the date to make it reflect the current date. Let us imagine that the current month is September. So all I need to do is simply erase the month that is there and enter the current month in its place. And we also need to adjust the day as well. Let's simply erase what's in that text box. Let's imagine that this is the second day of September. Notice that I have typed only a 2 there. I have not put a 0 before it. I have not put an ND after it. That's all I've done. Now, if you have had to change your subject since the first assignment, this happens to many people. They go to the library and they suddenly discover that there is no book on their subject available, so they wisely switch to a subject for which the library has a book. Let us imagine that I have been able to find a book on the Katha in the library that I went to. Now, all I need to do is to enter the information that I discovered during my preliminary phase of this assignment onto the form. And the first thing that I will want to do is to enter the information for my book. Notice it says title of book here, surname, name, city, publisher, and then it gives a year. So let's imagine that I have all this information at hand here, and that I have all the information that I need, and I'm simply entering it onto the form. I put in the surname of the author. I have put in the author's first name, and if there is one, a middle initial. Don't put another period after the S for the middle initial because there already is one on the form. Now let us imagine that this is a book that had more than one author for it. You already have the information that you need on the form. You will see that there is a comma after it. There is the word and, which you need to type in here, and that you simply need to type in the name of the second author like this here. And that would take care of it. Both of your authors are accounted for: surname, name, comma, and name and surname. Now, let us just imagine that this is one of those books, a very unusual one, that would have 3 authors in it. All you need to do is to type in those 2 Latin words, et and al, and that basically takes care of everything. Oh, don't forget to have a period after any abbreviation of a name like this here. I almost omitted that one there. The next thing you need to do is simply to enter the title of the book into the text entry box for that. So the title of the book, as I recall, was The Katha, The Hunt Begins. This is all fictitious information, incidentally. The city for it, and it has to be the name of a real city. You don't need to indicate England after it, but if, for example, this were London, Ontario, Canada, then you would need to indicate the state after it, which would be Ontario. The publisher, if I recall from my explanatory video, was Brown and Sons Company Limited. Brown and Sons Company Limited. How much of it did I type here? Just Brown. That's all you need. And the date should be the most recent date on the back of the title page. Now, you'll do the same thing for the New Grove Dictionary of Music and Musicians article. You already have that information on your form. It should take you only a moment or two to enter it onto the form. Title of the article. Oh, incidentally, remember when you enter the title of the article, if it is a composer's name, make sure you put his name or her name in proper order. Also, do not type in any numbers or any dates along with the title. If you do so, it means that you are doing something wrong. And then you need to indicate the volume number. And remember that the volume number is expressed just as you see it here, in Arabic numerals. No Roman numerals, Arabic numerals only. And do not add any other information other than the number of the volume. Nothing else should go in there. You should indicate the date and enter the page numbers that are correct for it, that you have written down through, and let us imagine that the final one was 798. Remember, the convention is 2 3-digit numbers like this here. If they have the same first digit, simply drop the first digit of the second number. Now let's imagine that I have used, you can only use one of these, the New Oxford Companion to Music. And let us imagine that the author for this one is someone whose last name is Smith and whose first name is Mary J. That the title of the article is, surprise of all surprises, Katja. That the date of it was someplace in the 2000s. You do have to look up that date for yourself. I am not going to give you one here. And the page numbers, let's say, are 92 through 97. Okay? I would need to have both numbers here. These are not 3-digit numbers. These are 2-digit numbers. So there's no dropping of any digits. If, however, let's say it were 192 through page 197, then I would delete the first digit of the second number. Now, I have actually taken a great deal of time in entering this information onto the form, but it won't take you anywhere nearly so long to do it. Remember that the final step that you need to take is to indicate your 3 subtopics in the places that are provided for them on the form. If I recall correctly, my first subtopic was etymology. My second subtopic was genealogy. And my final subtopic was sources. You cannot use any one of these 3 subtopics. Yours will be appropriate to your interest as an undergraduate, not a person who has a PhD in the subject matter. Keep yours very, very simple. By the way, while we're talking about subtopics, avoid these 2. Avoid style and avoid influence. Those are 2 things that are exceedingly difficult to define, to apprehend, to describe. Stay away from them. I get very worked up when I see students doing this sort of thing, and I start treating them like other musicologists. That is, I have no mercy for them whatsoever. Choose something that's a little bit more down to earth. Style and influence are really way too much for this assignment. Avoid discussion of those things entirely. Now, it has taken me a few minutes to go through this, far many more minutes than it will actually take you to do it. I imagine that any of you who type with at least one finger can complete this phase of the assignment in about 5 minutes. And notice how easy it was to do, because you did all of the work for the preliminaries and you in fact wrote everything down that you needed. This is simply a typing exercise. All you need to do next is to store this document with a correct title. You'll see that in the next video. You may already remember that process. Make sure that it has an O2 at the end of the file name. And then you need to submit it to me. Make sure that all of those details are right, and then you will need to check it in some detail. Make sure that you take a look at the video for step 5 of this exercise.